Today I will be looking at the migration from Mexico to the U.S. There has been a wave of international migration from Mexico to the U.S. since the 1990s. The USA now receives about 1 million Mexicans per year. At least 10% of Mexico's population is now living in the USA, half of which are living there legally. There are many push and pull factors as to why people from Mexico would migrate to the U.S. A few push factors relate to the fact that there is a lot of poverty in Mexico. Over 40% of Mexico's population live below the poverty line. Also, only a small range of jobs are available in Mexico, and they are paid very low wages, especially in rural areas. Another push factor would be the services and facilities in Mexico. For example, they have poor healthcare and medical facilities. They also have a poor education system, with over 8% of the population, which is over 8 million people, that cannot read and write. Many areas in Mexico also have scarce and polluted water resources. There are many pull factors for Mexicans to want to move to USA. A majority of them migrate to San Diego, California. The U.S. has a strong economy with a GNP that is over $40,000 per capita. The poverty in the U.S. is much less in comparison with Mexico. 12% live below the poverty line, whereas in Mexico it is over 40% of the population. Although, when the Mexicans migrate to the U.S., they sometimes have issues with immigration at the border. For example, they have difficulty gaining an entry visa and work permit for the United States. Also, if they enter illegally, then they will have difficulty getting over the border. There are border walls, fences, patrol guards, and there are harsh landscapes to cross, like deserts, mountains, and rivers. This migration can be compared to the migration from Pakistan to India in the 1950s. Then they had a forced migration and had to move to India. Compared to this migration, which was a voluntary migration, I think that this one had better benefits. In my opinion, this migration is good for the Mexicans. They have a lot more opportunities in the United States than they do in Mexico, although I feel that they take a bit of advantage of this as many Mexicans have moved to the U.S., which causes problems for them. With 10% of Mexico's population living in the U.S., Mexico is left with a small population, which affects the jobs and work they have there. Because of the migration to the U.S. for work, it is hard to find enough employees for jobs in Mexico. In the U.S., they are overfilled with these illegal immigrants.